Whispers became silence. Dreams turned dust. Hearts lost home. Eyes forgot light. Hands missed hands. Time grew cold. Love lost direction. Echoes broke sky. Promises fell apart. Stars stopped listening. Moon turned away. Night hid truth. Words cut deep. Souls walked alone. Hope became ashes. Faith grew thin. Distance built walls. Memories bled slow. Pain wore gold. Tears spoke louder. Smiles faked life. Dreams drowned quietly. Heartbeats turned hollow. Love forgot names. You became shadow. I became storm. We became nothing. Time kept mocking. Fate stayed silent. Wind carried sorrow. Sand hid footprints. Sky watched bleeding. Stars fell slowly. Darkness learned love. Light forgot warmth. Ocean wept softly. Waves lost shore. Dreams burned quiet. Ashes smelled you. Memories tasted pain. Heart called nobody. Soul missed fire. Eyes searched ghosts. Voice died inside. Hands trembled empty. Lips spoke nobody. Tears found home. Love became lesson. Heart became teacher. Pain became friend. Loneliness became truth. Silence became answer. Wind carried names. Stars knew everything. Moon kept secret. Sky still waiting. Desert heard heartbeats. Mountains echoed grief. Time wrote poetry. Love lost voice. Dreams kept weeping. Faith stood tired. Eyes cried stars. Heart burned letters. Soul whispered you. Distance grew endless. Truth stayed hidden. Pain spoke clearly. Silence hugged me. Shadow kissed light. Wind remembered us. Echo called back. Love refused return. Dreams kept bleeding. Heart kept waiting. Soul kept searching. Fate kept testing. Hope kept breaking. Tears kept falling. Words kept haunting. Stars kept dying. You kept leaving. I kept loving. We stopped being. Heart remembers everything. Silence holds echoes. Dreams chase shadows. Love still breathes. Pain never sleeps. Memories stay alive. Eyes still wander. Wind whispers truth. Moon hides tears. Stars judge softly. Time heals slowly. Soul bleeds quietly. Faith walks blind. Hope wears scars. Loneliness hugs deeply. Truth feels heavy. Names mean nothing. Touch feels distant. Light becomes memory. Darkness learns patience. Heartbeats lose rhythm. Words lose meaning. Love becomes echo. Dreams fade quietly. Tears fall fearless. Eyes drown stories. Hands crave warmth. Voice breaks gently. Silence speaks volumes. Soul forgives slowly. Heart learns surrender. Time hides mercy. Stars whisper mercy. Fate writes endings. Memories build walls. Love turns ashes. Pain wears crowns. Dreams walk barefoot. Wind carries sorrow. Sky hides grief. Heart drinks silence. Soul breathes storm. Tears mark faith. Eyes forget sunrise. Love fears distance. Names fade softly. Truth hurts gently. Moon forgets lovers. Stars dim slowly. Dreams lose color. Time erases names. Faith questions love. Heart forgives pain. Soul still remembers. Eyes still wander. Tears still sparkle. Hope still whispers. Love still lingers. Echo still calls. Wind still sings. Night still listens. Stars still bleed. Heart still burns. Memories still live. Pain still smiles. Silence still answers. Truth still stands. You still breathe. I still write. We still break. Destiny still laughs. Time still moves. Love still hurts. Soul still cries. Heart still waits. Wind still carries. Names still echo. Dreams still drown. Fate still watching. Moon still cold. Stars still shy. Hope still breaking. Faith still trembling. Tears still falling. Heart still bleeding. Love still dying. We stopped shining. Us became memory. Silence became forever. Time became mirror. Pain showed truth. Love stayed ghost. Dreams turned dust. Silence hugged deeply. Tears learned patience. Faith walked alone. Hope whispered gently. Heart found wisdom. Soul met peace. Names lost power. Words lost meaning. Stars found silence. Moon kept distance. Sky held memories. Wind carried lessons. Mountains echoed strength. Desert taught stillness. Sand remembered steps. Shadows learned light. Echoes became prayers. Heartbeats became poetry. Dreams became lessons. Love became teacher. Pain became guide. Silence became friend. Loneliness became truth. Tears became ink. Eyes became rivers. Faith became armor. Hope became crown. Heart became fire. Soul became king. Time became healer. Stars became witnesses. Wind became messenger. Night became listener. Sky became journal. Dreams became letters. Names became whispers. Memories became bridges. Love became eternity. Pain became beauty. Tears became strength. Heart became legend. Silence became music. Faith became rhythm. Hope became melody. Soul became light. You became past. I became calm. We became story. Time became truth. Destiny stayed loyal. Stars watched quietly. Moon forgave everything. Wind carried peace. Echo held memories. Heart forgave pain. Eyes forgave distance. Soul forgave silence. Love forgave loss. Tears forgave time. Dreams forgave endings. Faith forgave doubt. Hope forgave darkness. Light forgave shadows. Heart found closure. Soul found balance. Time found reason. Fate found mercy. Love found meaning. You found peace. I found purpose. We found end. Stars blessed silence. Wind kissed horizon. Dreams touched heaven. Heart wrote legacy. Soul walked onward. Pain turned strength. Tears birthed clarity. Love birthed light. Silence birthed wisdom. Faith birthed courage. Hope birthed destiny. You became lesson. I became echo. We became art. Time became canvas. Love became ink. Pain became brush. Faith became color. Hope became dawn. Heart became home. Soul became sky. Dreams became stars. Peace became truth. Silence became us. Heart healed slowly. Soul rose higher. Tears dried gently. Pain turned peace. Love became prayer. Faith became fire. Hope became guide. Time became friend. Stars smiled softly. Moon blessed quietly. Sky opened arms. Wind carried light. Dreams bloomed again. Names lost weight. Memories turned gold. Silence sang softly. Heartbeats spoke life. Eyes saw dawn. Hands held faith. Soul embraced journey. Love embraced stillness. Pain embraced beauty. Faith embraced everything.